Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but I wanted to get back on the bandwagon and kind of cover first class feasts this time around. We talked about the Sunday feast and how to go through the different offices in the last video I made. Now I want to go through what to do and how to follow a first class feast. Um, the next one coming up at the time of filming this video is September 7th, the Feast of St. Cloud. It says it's for the Diocese of St. Cloud, but since that's the next one, I'm just going to go off of that and show you how you would navigate through that first class kind of thing. And it's going to be similar for any feast of the first class. And I'm hoping to knock out second class feasts and third class feasts really soon here, just so pretty much have your bases covered here on what to do. Um, when in doubt, like I've mentioned in every video, that Divinum Officium app, really great. It just helps to follow everything in there. But if you don't have that, or let's say you don't have access to internet or something, which I don't know how you'd watch this, but either way, um, let's jump into the diurnal itself and check out how we go about a first class feast. Okay, so here we are, September 7th, St. Cloud First Class Feast. So the first thing you're always going to want to look at is the rubric. And that says, all as in the common of a confessor, not a bishop, page 75, except the following. And then it gives us a collect here for St. Cloud. So that means everything is going to come from page 75 in the parentheses, except for that collect. So if we go ahead and flip over to page 75, and pardon me if I'm kind of clumsy, I'm holding the phone in one hand, so let's check out what we got. So first class feasts usually are anticipated the day before, like they have a first vespers, similar to Sunday, Sunday starts with first vespers on Saturday evening. It's kind of the same thing with a first class feast. So let's check out what it says here. We went to the page it told us. Then it says, whenever the feast is of the first class. And let's just take a look at what we have here. We have our antiphons. We have a chapter, our reading, a verse and response, and then that verse and response if it was in Paschal Tide, which it won't be. Then we have our hymn. At the end of our hymn, we have the verse and response at the end of the hymn, and then our antiphon for the Magnificat. So all of those things are going to be used from the common of a confessor, not a bishop, for that particular feast day, because it told us that everything comes from there except the collect that we had on the actual page for St. Cloud. But let's take a little bit of a closer look here. It says, okay, after this antiphon, you're going to go to Psalm 109. Dixi Dominus Domino meo. So, with the rest of the first vespers on the apostles out of Paschal Tide. And it gives us another page number. So that's when it always comes in handy to have a holy card laying around somewhere, because sometimes you don't have enough ribbons to get everywhere. But you're going to have your antiphons here, okay? And according to what it's telling us, we're going to take our psalms from here. And it told us page 2 in parentheses. So now we know where to grab our psalms from. So if you've memorized the introduction to the office, the Deus in agitorium meum intende, Domine ad andivanda me festina, Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, secutor at in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Alleluia. If you remember that, you'll know exactly, okay, cool, you just have to find your first antiphon, which is going to be on that ribbon in the Commons. And from that first antiphon, then you're going to go to your first psalm. And then after your first psalm, you got the Gloria Patri after the psalms. And there's your second psalm. But you just are going to pretty much be flipping back and forth between the antiphons and the psalms. Antiphons, psalms. You'll be flipping back and forth until you get to your final psalm. And then you'll have your reading all taken from here. You have your responsory, your hymn, your responsory at the end of the hymn, and then the canticle for the Magnificat. And I don't know if you guys have seen any videos before that I've done, but one big trick that I had, because it's not the easiest thing to kind of flip around and get to all these different pages for Magnificat and the Canticle of Zacharias, all those kind of things. So what I did is I printed some off and cut them out. It made it easier for me. It doesn't look great or anything, but it works. And there's an idea for you guys if that's something you'd want to do. Otherwise, you would have to flip to Sunday in Vespers, because that's the only place where it's printed. Or you could flip to the Office of the Dead. But that's kind of time consuming, especially when you're trying to keep up with a community that usually has these things just memorized, and they don't have to do a lot of flipping around. I'd rather just go to my back and maybe look a little silly, flipping my book around, and be able to at least follow along in prayer than be kind of fumbling around the pages trying to find out where I'm supposed to be. But anyway, after that Magnificat, then you're going to have your collect. You'll have that other section that I said was really good to memorize before your collect comes up, where it's if you're reciting it alone, it's going to be Domine exaudia rationem meam et clamor meus ad te veniat, oremus. Then you'll go to your collect. You'll have your collect conclusion. And if that's something you haven't memorized yet, I like to throw another little card to the conclusions for the collects. So let's say you get done with your collect. It's going to give you the first couple words. Per Dominum Nostrum is usually what it's going to give you. Then you'll remember, Per Dominum Nostrum, Iesum Christum, Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Then you have your Domine exaudia rationem meam, et clamor meus ad te veniat, benedicamus Domino, Deo gratias. Fidelium anime per misericordiam Dei requiescant in pace. Amen. And that would conclude that office. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to stop this video and we'll go on to we'll go on to Lauds, and you're going to see that it is pretty similar to what we just did, if not pretty much the exact same. But let's go ahead and jump over to that. All right, so for Lauds, kind of the same deal. All we have is a collect. That's all we've been given, but we've been given to take things from the common. So we set that ribbon, and where we were right before was just right here. So there was your first Vespers, because as you know, the Monastic Diurnal does not contain Matins. Matins is a little more complicated. I may do a video on it later, but I don't have the book for it, so that would be kind of difficult. But let's go ahead and look at Lauds. So as you see, we kind of have a similar formatting here. We have our antiphons, a reading, responsory. We have our hymn. Okay. Verse and response after the hymn, and an antiphon for the Benedictus. So, and then these collects, they won't apply because we have the collect in the proper of saints for Saint Cloud. So, it'll be pretty much the same deal. Now, if you'll notice here, it's going to give us the same kind of deal. There's your first antiphon, and it'll tell us, okay, now you're going to go to Psalm 92, with the rest as in the Psalter, page 44. So for first class feasts, it's going to usually always be, it may not even usually be, it may always be the Psalms of Sunday. So you'll be flipping back and forth. And since it told us, okay, you're going to start Sunday Lauds, page 44, with this psalm, you'll have your antiphon, psalm, antiphon, psalm, antiphon, psalm, so on and so forth until you finish that psalmody. And you're going to see kind of this common thread, So you'll get done with that. You'll have your chapter, your verse and response, your hymn, and then you'll have your verse and response after the hymn, your Benedictus antiphon, and then if you print it out, have the handy-dandy Benedictus printed out here in the back. or you can find it in the Sunday office as well. It's only printed in the Sunday office, which is something I wish they would have done it, maybe in the front of the book or something like that. Because if you didn't know that, you'd be scrambling all over looking for it. So you are going to have it printed here once I get to it. And I'll just give you a quick page number. So here it is. If you don't want to print that out, you can just kind of make a mental note that your Benedictus is going to be on page 56. So there it would be. Then after that, you would have your, just recite that antiphon again that we found. And then you go to your collect. And that's pretty much it for lauds. All you have to memorize mentally would be the introduction, which I went over, and then the ending right before your collect, the Domine exaudi oratione meam. And other than that, you're going to have that down. So that's your first class feast, how you navigate that in lauds. Okay, so after we get to that area, it's going to be kind of just the same deal, Terce, you're going to have one antiphon, sext, one antiphon, known, one antiphon, and you have all your chapters under that. So let's take a look just really fast at how you would navigate those. Okay, so for our little hours, the first one's going to be prime. As you can see, though, in our Common of Confessors, which is what we've been using for this Feast of St. Cloud, we don't have prime here. It just goes to terce. Well, for prime, we're going to use the first antiphon from lauds. That's all we'll be using. The rest we will use from Sunday. So for first class feasts, you're going to use, for prime, terce, sext, and known, you're going to use the Sunday psalmody. So you'll use this first antiphon here for prime. So you have your introduction just like any other hour. Then you're going to take your first antiphon, okay? So you'll have your introduction, your hymn. Then once you get to the antiphons, you'll flip to that first antiphon there. Then you go through the 4 divisions of Psalm 118. So there was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then at the end of it, you'll recite that same psalm here on this. My ribbon is green. You can use whatever color you like. You'll recite that first antiphon again from your hour of lauds. Then you're going to just take the chapter and all these different things that are proper to it, The rest is on Monday. So you follow those rubrics, your antiphon, then your reading, chapter, responsory, the Kyries, the Pater, and it tells you there page 8. So let's just go ahead just to be thorough. Page 8 of the psalmody here. Okay, so you have your Pater, you have your oratios, and then the martyrology. That's a separate book, so that's why it's kind of difficult to cover prime unless you got the martyrology for it. So that's something I just do it with the Divinium Officium app because I don't have a martyrology. Or you could read the Psalms and take everything you can from here, and once you get to here, go online for the martyrology. But if not, that's fine. You can just pray the little hours too of terce, sext, and known. But anyway, that would be the end. It concludes at the end of that. So, moving forward now, so we got prime out of the way. You'll see for terce, sext, and known, we do have a little more info here. So for terce, we have our antiphon. And then, like I said before, for these 3 hours, it's going to be the same. Terce, sext, and known. You'll have an antiphon, okay? So you have your introduction and your hymn. Let me move to terce. Have your introduction, your hymn, then your antiphon, which you're going to take from that common. So once you get to that antiphon, take it from there, the common. Okay, then after that, you go through your psalms. Then after your psalms, according to different hours, some of them have the chapter right there. Like you'll see for sexta has a chapter right there. For terce it doesn't, but it'll give you chapter as above at lauds. So you'll just flip back a few pages, and you'll just take your chapter from there. And then from there, you're going to just use that that hymn. Well, I'm sorry, the hymn will come before, but after your chapter, you'll have the response, and then that'll pretty much be the end of that office, and you just are always going to be pulling your collect from right here at the end of all these little hours. And the same is going to be for sext and none. And then second vespers, if I can just jump into it really fast, your final vespers of the day, everything is said as at first vespers, except that which follows. So what we did for first vespers, which I covered at the beginning of this video, it's all going to be the same, except for what it told us to do differently, which would be the verse and response at the end of the hymn, and the antiphon for the Magnificat. And then you have your conclusions and your collect, and that's that. So hopefully that kind of clears it up with what to do on a first-class feast. I know that this isn't celebrated as a first-class feast everywhere. The next one I think would be for St. Michael the Archangel, which is it is somewhere in September, the dedication. There it is. So the dedication of St. Michael would be the next actual first class that's celebrated universally. And let's just take a look at that real fast just for fun. See, it gives you the same kind of layout. Your antiphons, tells you where to grab the psalms from, gives you a hymn, gives you a Magnificat, a chapter, lauds, same deal. It gives you all the information you need. So you just follow the rubrics is the simplest way of putting it. You follow what the red lettering says. So that's how we do first class feasts. The next video I'm going to make is going to be on second class feasts, which are similar, but they're going to be a little bit different. And then third class feasts, which are, honestly, I think they're pretty simple, but we'll jump into all that later. I hope this helped you guys, and please comment if there's anything I need to clear up for you guys. I know I'm kind of slow about getting back to everything. I just really busy, but other than that, hopefully this helped, and God bless you all, and keep on praying. Please pray for me. I'll be praying for you.